Sorry. Thank you. Yeah. I'm undoing my braids. I want to wash my hair. So I have to undo this to this so that I can wash it properly. How was your week? I have flu. Can you hear my voice? Can you hear me very clearly? Yeah. And my voice is it's very raspy today. So and so. Maybe in the afternoon it'll be a bit better. Right now, I just woke up, I think 1 hour ago, and I haven't been speaking a lot, so my voice is still a bit rough. Yeah, the weather changes out here are very bad. Sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's raining. Like this week, it has been raining, and then some days it gets hot, and then the next days it rains and it's cold. So, sorry, I got flu. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It just hurts here. My throat is very, 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 very dry. And I drank something minty because I thought it would, make my dry throat better, but it didn't. So, yeah, I'll just have to trust the process. Let's see. Okay, so we're doing type. Can I see the topic again? Extra information clauses. Okay, so as the name implies, extra information clauses, we have two types of relative clauses, right? And type 1 is the relative clause that gives us more information. No, not more. No, it does not give us more information. It tells us what kind of person or what kind of thing we are talking about. If we're talking about a hotel, you'll tell me, oh, the hotel you recommended, the hotel down the street. Now you see, you're telling me about the hotel. But type 2 of a relative clause shown here, it gives us more information about the person or a thing. And that more information is sometimes not even important. It's just extra information that you can do without. It's not something you need to know, but people just say it just to give you more information or extra information about what they're talking about or who they're talking about. Okay, so let's see type 1 examples. It says, the woman who lives next door to me is a doctor. See, here in type 1, they're just giving you what kind of person are we talking about or who are we talking about. Here we're talking about the woman. Which woman? The one who lives there next door to me, and she's a doctor. Grace works for a company that makes furniture. So here they're explaining this company. What kind of a company is it? It's a company that makes furniture. We stayed at the hotel that you recommended, or the hotel you recommended. So here, someone can ask, which hotel? The hotel you recommended. So see, they're telling you the type of hotel they're talking about. What hotel is this? The one you recommended. Now, with type 1, remember, we can also use that as a relative clause or as a joining word. But for type 2, we cannot use that. In type 2 relative clauses, we do not use that because type 2, it gives more information, right? Even if it's unnecessary information, extra information. So if we are using extra information or if we are having extra information, there will be a use of a comma to show that we're separating or we're giving more information. So if we are using commas, that is not necessary. Because that, we only use that to explain more, which type 2 relative clause is already doing. It's already giving us more information. So we don't need that. Now it says in this example, which is type 1, the relative clause tells you which person or thing or what kind of person or thing the speaker means. The woman who lives next door to me tells us which woman. A company that makes furniture tells us what kind of company. The hotel you recommended or that you recommended tells us which hotel. We do not use commas with these clauses because, like I mentioned, we only use commas in relative clauses that give us extra information. So here, they're not giving us extra information. They're just telling us what kind of object or what kind of person they're talking about. But they're not giving extra information about that item or that person. So we don't use commas here for type 1 relative clauses. And then in type 2, in this example, the relative clauses do not tell you which person or thing the speaker means. We already know which person is meant. For example, the first sentence says, my brother Ben. So you see, you don't even need to ask who. He already told you, my brother Ben. But then he gives more information about Ben, who lives in Hong Kong. You didn't even need to know where Ben lives, but this person just gave you extra information that, oh, I'm talking about my brother Ben, who happens to live in Hong Kong. He's an architect. So here, he's telling you about Ben, who is an architect, but then he tells you more about Ben. He lives in Hong Kong. You didn't need to know where Ben lives. It's not necessary for you to know. You have no, if you don't, there's no one who's going to ask you, oh, where does Ben live? Nobody's going to ask you about that. But the person who's telling you about Ben just thought, let me just give him extra information about Ben. This is why it says in this example, the relative clauses do not tell you which person or thing the speaker means. We already know which thing or person is meant. My brother Ben, Anna's new job, or the Park Hotel. The relative clauses in these sentences give us extra information about the thing or person. And sometimes it's not even information you needed. They're just giving you extra information for the sake of it. Maybe it may be helpful or it may not be helpful, but they're still giving you extra information. So this is where we will use commas with these clauses. My brother Ben, who lives in Hong Kong, is an architect. So here we don't use that because that is something we use when we say more information. So here we are already giving you more information. So that would just be a repetition, and we don't need repetition. That's why we're going to use commas to separate our information to so that it's been broken down into a lot of information. In both types of relative clauses, we use who for people and which for things. But type 1, we can use that. Do you know anyone who or that speaks French and Italian? Grace works for a company which or that makes furniture. You can leave out who, which, that when is the object. Remember we did this last week. We said if the noun we're talking about is the object, we can leave out who, which, or that. But if it's the subject, we cannot leave it out. We stayed at the hotel that which you recommended, or you can just say we stayed at the hotel you recommended. This morning I met somebody I hadn't seen for ages, or you can say this morning I met somebody who or that I hadn't seen for ages. We do not often use whom in this type of clause. Remember I said whom is for people, right? But remember it said whom is it's not often used, especially in spoken language. Mostly people use whom in writing and mostly in formal situations, not in casual or social situations. It's always in formal situations. So it's not all the time where people are always in formal situations. Formal situations mostly are work related. So this is where you're going to use whom in writing. Sometimes you can use it in spoken English, but it's not often that it's used in spoken English. And then type 2 says, you cannot use that. John, who speaks French and Italian, works as a tour guide, not that speaks. And here, uh, because we're giving more information or extra information about something, when you use that, uh, it's as if, especially when you're talking about a person. Remember, in type 1, you can use that when you're talking about a person. But in type 2, relative clause, we cannot use that when we're talking about a person because it makes a person an object or a thing. When you start using that in type 2 to talk about a person, it seems that is no longer a person, but is now a thing. And we cannot reduce someone to an object. This is why you cannot say, John that speaks. You see, when you say John that, John is no longer a person. John is now an object. And John is not an object, he's a person. And then says, Anna told me about her new job, which she is enjoying a lot. So here, they are giving us more information or extra information about Anna or her job. And sometimes it's not even something you need to know. You don't need to know if Anna is enjoying her job or not. You just okay, Anna has a new job. That's good for Anna, but you don't care if she's enjoying her job or not. Anna is not your friend, so you don't need to know if Anna is enjoying it. But somebody's just telling you, just for the sake of it, just to say, she's enjoying her job. But it's not information you need. So type 2 is more like they're giving you extra information, but it's not information that you need. It's just for the sake of it. And then here it says you cannot leave out who or which because, like mentioned, you're giving more information or extra information about the object or the person you're talking about. So you cannot leave out who or which. We stayed at the hotel which a friend of ours recommended. This morning, I met Chris, who I hadn't seen for ages. You can use whom for people when it is the object, but not when it's the subject. If it's the subject, we don't use whom for people. But when they are objects, or when the when the person is an object, we can use whom to describe that person or to give extra information about that person. Like it says here, this morning I met Chris, whom I hadn't seen for ages. In both types of relative clauses, you can use whose or where. Whose whose is more often to show ownership, right? Like whose. It's something we often use whose to show ownership of something. If something is the owner of the object we're talking about, whose car is this? It's mine. Whose pen is this? Is it yours? So you see here we're trying to show ownership. So we helped some people whose car had broken down. What's the name of the place where you went on holiday? This first sentence is we helped someone whose car had broken down. What's the name of the place where you went on holiday? Those are type 1 relative clauses. As you can see, they do not have the comma and they don't give extra information about the noun we're talking about. But then sentence the Lisa, whose car had broken down, was in a very bad mood. So see, here they're giving you more information about Lisa. Why was she in a bad mood? Because her car had broken down. So they're giving you extra information as to why Lisa was in a bad mood. Her car had broken down. Kate has just been to Sweden, where her daughter lives. So they're giving us more information about Kate. Where has she been to? She's been to Sweden. Okay. You didn't need to know that her daughter lives to Sweden. You just wanted to know where Kate has been to. So she's been to Sweden. Oh, her daughter lives in Sweden. You didn't need to know that. We don't care about her daughter, but they just told us more information. They just gave us information about her daughter, and we didn't even need it. So type 2 mostly gives you information you didn't ask for or you don't even need, because there's no time somebody's going to ask you, okay, so where did you say Kate was from? She's from Sweden. Nobody's going to ask you, oh, what about her daughter? You don't know her daughter. You have no business with her daughter. So you see, they're giving us extra information that we don't really need. It's just for fun or just for extra vibes, just to say, oh, in case you might want to know, in case. So yes, that's how you can differentiate between type 1 and type 2. Type 1 mostly don't have a comma to show that they're not explaining or they're not giving extra information. Type 2 will mostly have a comma, and it will have one part that is a bit unnecessary, like unnecessary information, but it's there. So you have to know about you know about it, but you don't really need it. Now we move to our exercises. Make one sentence from two. Use the information in brackets to make a relative clause, which is type 2. You will need to use who, whom, whose, which, and where. So they gave us two examples. Catherine is very friendly. She lives next door to us. Catherine, who lives next door to us, is very friendly. We stayed at the Park Hotel. A friend of ours recommended this hotel. We stayed at the Park Hotel, which a friend of ours recommended. Now we have to make sentence 3. This is where we take charge. We drove to the airport. The airport was not far from the city. We drove to the airport, which was not far. We drove to the airport, comma, which was not far from the city. Kate's husband is an airline pilot. I have never met Kate's husband. Okay, so how do we make this one into two sentences? Comma. Who I have never met. Remember, with type 2, we can't leave out relative clauses who, which, because they are very important. If you leave it out, it's somehow grammatically wrong, so we cannot leave them out. So it will be Kate's husband, comma, who I have never met, comma, is an airline pilot. Okay, so Lisa is away from home a lot. Lisa's job involves a lot of traveling. Lisa, let's see. It's going to be Lisa's job, comma, comma, which involves a lot of traveling, comma, keeps her away from home a lot. Like you can change the structure of the sentence a bit because it says Lisa is away from home a lot. What makes her go away from home a lot? It's her job, which involves a lot of traveling. So her job makes her travel a lot, which in turn makes her away from home a lot. So we can say Lisa's job, comma, which involves a lot of traveling, keeps her away from home. That's how we can make it into two sentences. And also, remember, you don't really need to know why Lisa is away from home a lot. But then they just tell you, oh, it's because of her job. You know, her job involves a lot of travel. I didn't need to know that. I don't need to know that. But they're telling me anyway because they feel like it's important for you to know that Lisa travels a lot. It's not for me, but they still tell you anyway. And then this one says, Paul and Emily have a daughter, Alice. Alice has just started school. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Coma. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Coma. Mm-hmm. Who? Remember here, we cannot leave them out. Yeah. So it'll be Paul and Emily have a daughter, comma, Alice, comma, who has just started school. You didn't need to know if Alice has just started school. Maybe you just asked, do Paul and Emily have a daughter? And then this person is like, yeah, she just started school. I didn't need to know that. I just wanted to know if they have a daughter. But then this person just told, she just started school. Now you're there like, oh, okay, that's nice. Because why did you tell me? Why did you tell me? So you see, sometimes this information is unnecessary. Like I just wanted to know if they have a daughter. I don't care about her schooling. I really don't care. But this person thought, let me tell you, she has just started school. I mean, congratulations, but okay, okay. And then we have this one. It says the new stadium will hold 90,000 spectators. The stadium will be finished next month. Uh-huh. 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 That's correct. My brother lives in Alaska. Alaska is the largest state in the US. My brother lives in Alaska. Alaska is the largest state in the US. It's going to be my brother lives in Alaska, comma, which is the largest state in the US. So here, it's still an unnecessary information. Maybe you just ask this person, where does your brother live? My brother lives in Alaska. Alaska is the largest city in the US. Like, why are you telling me? I just wanted to know, where does your brother live? He lives in Alaska. That should have been enough, but no. You have to tell me Alaska is the largest city in the US. Okay, okay. Congratulations to Alaska, but I didn't need that. I don't need to know that. And then this one says, our teacher was very kind. I have forgotten her name. Let's see. Let's do up there. Can you scroll up a bit? Okay, so they said we can use who, whom, whose, which, and where. Let's see. Our teacher was very kind. I have forgotten her name. Okay, so I'll remember we can only use whom if our noun is the object. So here, our teacher is the subject, right? She's not the object. She's the subject. So we can't use whom for her. Let's see what we can say. Our teacher was very kind. I have forgotten her name. got it. It'll be, I have forgotten the name of our teacher, who was very kind. I have forgotten the name of our teacher, who was very kind. We enjoyed our visit to the museum. We saw a lot of interesting things in the museum. No way. Why? Why? We enjoyed a visit to the museum, where we saw a lot of interesting things. This one was a bit challenging, especially for the last two, especially for the last two sentences. Yeah. Okay, read the information and complete the sentences. Use the relative clause of type 1 or type 2. Use commas when necessary. 1. My brother is an architect. He lives in Hong Kong. Now, it says, my brother, who lives in Hong Kong, is an architect. I didn't need to know where your brother lives. I just wanted to know his occupation. What does he do? He's an architect. He happens to live in Hong Kong. Okay, okay. Congratulations to your brother. But I didn't need to know that. And then this one says, the strike at the factory has now ended. The strike began 10 days ago. The strike at the factory. Let me see. I am also struggling a bit here, but let me see. The strike at the factory that began 10 days ago has now ended. This one can be type 1. It can be type 1 because no, no. Let me see. Let me see. If I turn it into type 1 relative clause, I am going to say the strike at the factory that began 10 days ago has now ended. Right? If I'm turning it into type 1. If I turn it into type 2, I will say the strike at the factory, that began 10 days ago. Remember, for type 2, we don't use that. For type 2, we don't use that. So here, this is type 1 because we can't use, we use that. We can use that for the second sentence. So it's type 1. So we're going to say the strike at the factory that began 10 days ago has now ended. We don't even need a comma there. So sentence 2 is type 1. It's a type 1 relative clause. So it will be the strike at the factory that began 10 days ago has now ended. I was looking for a book this morning. I have found it now. Yeah, 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 I'm fine. Fine. Okay, so I was looking for a book this morning. I have found it now. I found the book that I was looking for this morning. So it's also type 1. I've had my car for 15 years. This car has never broken down. This one is mostly type 2. It's type 2. And how do we make it into two sentences? We're going to say, my car, that has never broken down, has been mine for 15 years. because you already said my car. So you can't say, I've had my car again. So here it's my car, comma, that I've had for my car, comma. No, 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 no. No, wait, wait. It's going to be my car, comma, that I've had for 15 years, comma again, has never broken down. Mm. Mm. Which one would you say is the unnecessary information here? The fact that you've had it for 15 years or the fact that it has never broken down? Like, which one would you say is the unnecessary information? Yeah, I also think never broken down because the person can ask you, how long have you had your car? Oh, I've had it for 15 years and it has never broken down. I just wanted to know how long have you had your car for? I don't need to know if it has broken down or not. I just wanted to know how long have you been the car owner? 15 years is enough for me. But no, you had to tell it has never broken down. I don't care. I don't care. And then we have a lot of people applied for the job. Few of them had the necessary qualifications. Okay, a lot of people applied for the job. Few of them had the necessary qualification. And then it says few of. No, 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 no. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. For this one, it's going to be. This is type one. It's type one. So it's going to be few of the people that had applied for the job had necessary qualifications. Or few of the people who applied for the job had necessary qualifications. So you can say few of the people that applied or few of the people who applied. Remember, for type one, you can use who or that even when you're talking about people. Amy showed me a picture of her son. Her son is a police officer. Mhm. So it'll be exactly. Amy showed me a picture of her son, Coma, who is a police officer. Oh, Amy, what a show off. My son is a police officer. My son. Okay, okay, Amy. Okay, Amy, I see. And then this one says, are these sentences okay? Correct them and put in commas when necessary. If the sentence is correct, write okay. And this one says, Anna told me about her new job that she's enjoying very much. Oh, wow, Anna. Anna told me about her new job, comma, which she's enjoying very much. Unnecessary information there, Anna. You could just told me, oh, my new job is good. I'm enjoying it so much. Okay, Anna. Well, congratulations for enjoying your job. But I don't need to know that, Anna. I don't need to know that. Okay. And then number two says, my office that is on the second floor is very small. Which. Remember, for type 2, for type 2, we don't use that. Mhm. So we are going to change that into which. So it'll be my office, comma, which is on the second floor, comma, is very small. Three, the office that I'm using at the moment is very small. Do you feel like this one needs any corrections? It's type 1. It's actually type 1 relative clause. So it does not need any correction. Sarah's father, that used to be in the army, now works for a TV company. This one is type 2. And remember, for type 2, we do not use that. So how do we how do we correct this sentence? Who, 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 who? We are talking who? Because we're talking about a person here. Sarah's daddy. And our necessary information here is the fact that he used to work in the army. We don't care about that. We just see a man working in a TV company. Oh, but he used to be in the army. Okay, so he's not in the army anymore. He now works for a TV company. Hello. And then the fifth one says, the doctor that examined me couldn't find anything wrong. Type 1. It's actually type 1 relative clause. Me too. I think it's okay. This one also does not need any corrections, so it's okay. And it's actually type 1, right? The doctor that examined me couldn't find anything wrong. The sun, that is one of millions of stars in the universe, provides us with heat and light. Type 2. This one is type 2. Comma. So it'll be the sun, comma, which is one of millions of stars in the universe, comma, provides us with heat and light. We don't need to know that it is 1 million of stars in the universe. Where am I going to go with that information? I don't need it. Nobody's going to ask me, oh, it's a star. No. You just needed to tell me, oh, the sun provides us with heat and light, but no, you had to tell me it's one of millions of stars in the universe. Come on. I don't need to know that. But thank you for telling me. But thank you for telling me. But thank you for telling me. Okay. Okay, let's see. I think this is the last exercise. Then we can stop here. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I've actually been feeling this way for the past 4 days now. This is day 4. Day 1, it was the worst. It was the worst. I couldn't even speak so properly. Like but now it's getting better because I'm trying. Like I don't like like what do we call this? When you boil hot water, right? And then you have to inhale the steam from hot water. I can't do that. It's very suffocating. It's very suffocating. But they say it'll help. But I don't want to do that. I already can't breathe with my nose right now. It's very stuffy. I have to breathe with my mouth. So if I had to inhale hot steam, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. No, no. Okay, then thank you. Thank you for today. This is where we'll continue on Sunday. And I promise on Sunday I'll be very, 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 very well. Mhm. Okay, no problem. Okay, no problem. No problem. Then I'll see you when you are available. Bye. Okay, no problem. Bye. Me too. Me too. Me too. I hope I feel well soon.